Hi, welcome to a new Pick a Card reading. In today's reading, we are asking what is something that you need to leave behind? What is something you need to leave in your past? I'm filming this mid-December, so my intention is technically what is something that you need to leave in 2024 and not take into the new year with you. However, this is a timeless reading, so whenever this finds you, just take it as what is something that you need to leave in the past. I have prepared 3 groups with 3 different tarot decks, and I have displayed the different wheels of fortune here, and that is what you are going to choose from. I'm going to give you close-ups right now. This is group number 1, group number 2, and group number 3. So group number 1, oh, not the 10 of Pentacles hiding underneath that. We have the Wheel of Fortune from the Pulp Tarot. And then group number 2, you have the Ace of Wands underneath there. This is the Wheel of Fortune of the, what is it? Dios de los Tres. Pardon my accent, it's not great. This is the Wheel of Fortune for group 2. And then group 3, underneath that we have the Two of Wands. This is your Wheel of Fortune of the Horror Tarot. And then I'm going to give you a moment, as always, to zone in or zone out, whichever you need in order to determine which group is calling you the loudest. Timestamps are in the description below, and I will meet you at your reading. Hi group 1, this is your reading if you chose this Wheel of Fortune card. We are going to shuffle this deck, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the deck. I'm going to shuffle it well, and we're going to find the Wheel of Fortune again. And then we are going to take a look at the card that is in front of the Wheel of Fortune, and then we're going to take a look at the card that is behind the Wheel of Fortune. And that is going to give us some indication, and then we'll pull some more tarot cards to see what else we need to know about what it is that you need to leave in your past, that you need to leave behind, that you need to leave in 2024. So, what does group 1 need to leave in 2024? And what should they be focusing on in the year ahead of them? All right, let's give it one more. There we go. Okay, I am going to look for the Wheel of Fortune this way. And so this way we see what is in front of the Wheel of Fortune before we see what is behind. Because it's kind of like keep your eyes on the prize, right? Oh, look at that. Look at that. I love that. All right. We have the Empress card as an energy that you need to be focusing on in the year ahead. And we have the 5 of Cups as an energy that you need to release, that you need to leave behind in 2024. Okay, so what you need to leave behind is the idea of, first of all, the idea of lack. The idea of lack of worth. What you really need to focus on is embodying the worth that you know you inherently have. With the Empress card, this is incredible potential for creation, incredible potential for attracting abundance, attracting attention, attracting really like your highest good overall. But with the 5 of Cups, you've been slowing yourself down with doubt. You've been slowing yourself down by holding on to things that didn't work out. You are holding on to sort of different versions of yourself or different expressions of yourself, and probably a few people. There are probably a few connections, friendships, romantic connections that you need to sort of release, that you need to let go of. They are not in your life anymore because they, in some shape or form, would have dulled your shine, would have kept you from embodying your most empowered self. And so there's definitely some people that you need to leave behind. There's some expectations that you need to leave behind. And honestly, there's also there's an attitude that you need to leave behind that has to do with really clinging on to the what ifs. What is it? If pots and pans, no. If ifs and buts were pots and pans, the world would be a kitchen. There's a need for you to release the idea of potential, I'm just seeing like you grieving all these different things that could have been. They're not. Full stop. They are not. Let it go. They are not. Could have been. Maybe some of them should have been, but they are not. And that is not something that you can change by wasting too much time grieving over it. Yes, you need to go through the grieving process, but the fact that this is coming up as something that you need to leave in 2024 tells me that you have done enough grieving. You've done enough grieving and it's time for a rebirth. Tell me more about what Group 1 needs to leave in 2024. We have the Hierophant. Yeah, these are some commitments that do not serve you, that did not serve you. These are commitments and beliefs and ideals that you had attached to people, to relationships, to friendships, and they do not feed you. We have the Page of Wands. These were relationships that were imbalanced, that were built on either proximity or desire, perhaps even passion. And you may have held on to them for so long because there was this feeling of like, oh, I can make it work. I can make it work. If I'm just devoted enough, I can make it work. You weren't supposed to make it work. You're supposed to live your life with ease and attract, not make it work. And of course, there's something to be said, especially in friendships and relationships and interpersonal connections in general, about, compromise. But this was beyond compromise. And we have the Magician. Yeah. What you need to leave behind is the idea that, well, if I just manifest hard enough, then I can make any connection work. Because with the Five of Cups, we're talking about emotional experience. And emotional experience is something that needs to be transmuted. You cannot stay in a suspended limbo just hoping that if you wish hard enough that you can change an outcome. While manifesting or manifestation is something that it can be incredibly empowering, you should focus on the things that you can control. What we are able to manifest is material shifts in the world, material sort of, we can bend the way that the material world meets us. You cannot bend the way that other emotional beings meet you because they have free will and you have free will. And so what you need to release is that there is a version of you that could have held on to this, that could have made them stay, that there is a version of you that could have been more deserving, that there is a action that you could take to make them return. Because it doesn't matter if that's true or not, it simply does not serve you to try and make that happen. Yeah, look at, we have the Strength card at the bottom of the deck, and this is sort of the energy on what to focus on. So the Strength card is, how can you gather strength from these experiences? You're in the process of alchemizing this. And I say this because I do think with the Five of Cups that you have been in this state of grief for a while, and it's time to move on to the next stage. And again, the next stage for you, I think, is rebirth. And rebirth is very scary. Sometimes the stage of grief becomes a stage of comfort, because that grief is the only thing we have left that connects us to the thing that we have lost. And for you, again, I think for a lot of you, this is going to be people, but for some of you, this also has to do with expectations in yourself, what you thought your life was going to look like. This is making me think of a song that's called Nostalgia, and now I can't think of who sings it. But she sings, it's time to say goodbye to all the things that you thought you would be. It's called Nostalgia. Look it up. It's a very powerful song. This is you holding on to the past and being dragged. And what you need to do is release your grip on the past. And this also has to do with risking losing certain memories because you're making new ones. Can we get some advice? What is something that Group 1 needs to leave in 2024? That Group 1 needs to leave behind? What is some energy that Group 1 needs to leave behind? We have Peacock. This immediately is making me think of decorating yourself with someone else's feathers. You've tried to fit in. And whether that is, trying to construct a life that other people would approve of, or whether that is trying to fit in with people in your life. You were decorating yourselves with like the feathers that fell off of other birds. And I think that makes you really unique. I'm thinking of the way that male peacocks look quite different from female peacocks. I actually used to live with peacocks, which I know sounds weird, but I did. And the females, and they have so much character. They're such oddballs. But the females look a lot more subtle, right? And I think you felt the need to live up to something that wasn't in your nature, that wasn't in, it's kind of like I'm thinking of your energy being more of a female peacock and seeing a male peacock and being like, that's what I have to be like. So it makes sense that you're being guided to embrace more of your feminine energy, no matter what you identify as. Because you are being guided to be more in your receiving energy and not in this energy of like, look, I can do this, because that's what male peacocks do, right? They show off so that they get chosen. And so I think that's the energy that you are embodying more so. And that's what you need to leave behind. The idea that you need to impress someone, the idea that you have to show up a certain way to be, to deserve space. And that's simply not the case. And then what is an energy that Group 1 should embody more of in 2025? We have the Lion, exactly. This is birthright. You do not need to prove yourself. I mean, if we get too much into it, most animals have rituals where they do have to prove themselves, but metaphorically, energetically, this is making me think of royalty and birthright, right? So you're really needing to shift the focus on, I don't have anything to prove to people. If anything, you should convince me. Why are you worth my time? Okay? All right. Let's see, what are some major themes that are significant for group 1 here in terms of what to release, what to leave in 2024? We have feel come out for a second and then wish. Yeah, feel, this is this emotionality. This is this super emotional attachment towards wishing you were somebody else. Group 1, cut it out. You are exactly who you are meant to be. You are exactly who all of your experiences have accumulated to designing you. There is no point in wishing you were someone else, and I will tell you right now that there is no point in wishing you looked different. Because looks, for some reason, it doesn't have to be like this shallow desire of like, oh, I wish I looked more aesthetic or more pleasing or more beautiful. It doesn't have to be as shallow as that. And that's not necessarily shallow either. That's rooted in some really deep hurts and desires. But I think more so of what your life looks like to other people. You need to cut it out because you are exactly who you are meant to be at the exact time that you are meant to be. And the more that you grieve for life or a version of yourself that you aren't, the more time you're wasting that you could be enjoying the life that you have and the person that you are. What is an energy for group 1 to release? What is something to leave behind in 2024? We have athlete. Again, you have such a desire to prove yourself. For who? For what? There's no medallions. There's no gold medals for what it is that you're trying to prove here. And if you keep expending energy into that, you'll exhaust yourself for a goalpost that is constantly moving. What is an energy for group 1 to embody more of? That flew to the ground, which is fine. Let's grab it. Slave. This is all about recognizing the beauty of freedom. It says surrendering your power of choice to the divine with complete trust. For athlete, it says false sense of invulnerability and entitlement. I'm focusing more so on the archetypes here. And as an athlete is so focused on achieving, right? With slave, we're talking solely about the archetype. That's a very, very sensitive word for obvious reasons. But for the archetype, this is about freeing yourself from the shackles of having to perform, of having to fit into a box of accomplishment. And that's what you're supposed to embody more of, is understanding where are you a slave to certain patterns, where are you a slave to unrealistic expectations in yourself. And that's what you're meant to free yourself from. Okay. For group 1, I'm trying to keep these short and sweet this week. So, any last considerations or advice for group 1 when it comes to releasing what needs to stay here? We have Lantern. So, Lantern, and especially with the number 3, this is all about connecting more with your inner guidance. Okay, so your advice, in order for you to be able to release this, you are meant to reconnect with your values, because I think your values have been infiltrated and kind of, I'm getting like this imagery of like people breaking into a place and taking spray paint and painting over like things, and someone has broken into your realm of values, and they've spray painted over everything, and it's kind of like, okay, I don't even know what's mine anymore and what was there before. Like it's a mess. And so you need to release these connections, these expectations. I think, again, for a lot of you, it's people, if not a specific relationship. Could be family, could be a romantic partnership that has ended. You need to find yourself in absence of that. Because a lot of times people define who they are by the way that people live around them. So it's kind of like, oh, these are my friends, this is what we do, you know, and you need to find out, you need to spend some time seeking your inner companionship, your own companionship, and recognizing, who am I? Who is, especially because this card right here is giving very much Mulan, right? When will my reflection show? And so this is really about, your reflection will show what's on the inside when you bring attention to what's on the inside. And the more that you align your actions with who you are on the inside, the more free you will feel, and the more you will attract in connections and abundance that is aligned with you in a way that is much more nourishing and much more sustainable moving forward. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for hanging out. If you would like to book a reading, you can do so on my website only. Other than that, I hope I get to read for you again sometime. Until then, take care. Hi, Group 2. This is your reading if you chose this Wheel of Fortune card right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to give this deck a really good shuffle. And once I feel like we have done that, we will then search for the Wheel of Fortune card, and we will take a look at which card is in front of the Wheel of Fortune and which card is behind it. And that will give us some indication on what it is that you need to be focusing on moving forward, and what it is that you need to leave behind, what it is that you need to leave in 2024, because it simply does not serve you anymore. So, just a few more. Spirit, for Group 2, what does Group 2 need to leave in 2024, and what do they need to focus on more so in 2025? Let's do one more. All right, and then we are looking for the Wheel of Fortune. Why do I feel like I already forgot what it looked like? There it is. Okay. So, what you need to be focusing on in the year ahead is the Knight of Swords. And what you need to release is the Ace of Wands. You saw I shuffled and we still got the Ace of Wands. It happens. Okay. That's interesting. Especially because it was underneath, so that is a confirmation, right? Double confirmation here that is something to release. Now, what is that? I think what you need to release, what you need to leave in 2024 is the idea of, well, I could do this, or I could do that, or I could do this, I could do that. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. You're existing a lot in theory. And it feels like there is a desire to take action, and yet there's inspiration, but there's not a lot happening that is transmuting that inspiration into tangible action or into an actual physical outcome. And so I think it's really interesting that the Knight of Swords is coming out as an energy to focus on moving forward, because Spirit isn't saying like, oh, you need to have, it's not like have that paper that's been overdue, have that on my desk by 12 p.m. That's not what they're saying. They're saying get to work. So it's not about, okay, they don't want you to focus too much on the polished outcome, they don't want you to focus too much on the final form of something, but they want you to start experimenting. They want you to start researching in this new year. And I think you have been bogged down by potential too much. Whether that is potential within yourself, potential within the things that you choose to attract into your life. I think you've been manifesting a lot. I think you've been thinking a lot. And the swords are, the energy of thought. It's air energy, and the wands is more so the it's fire energy. So it's more so the spark. Together it leads to creation, which is, more so the pentacles, earth energy. Together it leads to something amazing. And you would think typically it goes the other way around, that we conceptualize something and then we need the spark, the inspiration to bring it into the world. And yet the fact that we have the Ace of Wands is telling me that you are very much an ideas person, and you may have a hard time maintaining interest in things. You may have a hard time keeping focus. And so with the Knight of Swords, you're being guided in the next year to experiment. You're also being guided to communicate your desires more. Not so much because I said earlier, I think you have been manifesting. I think your manifestations may have been all over the place. I think that you're very you're coming very much from a place of appetite and not so much instinct. You're coming from a place of, oh, I'm in the mood for this, I'm in the mood for that, I'm in the mood for this. But that then also means that, when you're not in the mood, you don't maintain the passion that you actually have for something. Because it's kind of like, I can't maintain that energy level because my mood isn't there. And so with the Knight of Swords, we're talking about employing more research and working smarter, not harder. We're talking about educating yourself more, because there's something, especially if there's some kind of talent that you are trying to hone, that you are trying to make work for yourself in a professional way. Let's say you're passionate about music, you're passionate about painting. There is, of course, a natural raw talent that is something that cannot be taught. But there is a lot that can be taught, and there is a lot that needs to be understood about a craft in order to master it, right? The people that are at the top of any industry have mastered a balance of inspiration and education. And that's what I'm seeing coming together here, is that you need to release some of your impulsivity and employ more strategy. What is something that group 2 needs to leave behind in 2024? What is something that they need to leave in 2024? You also might be somebody who operates a lot on luck. You might be a very lucky person, and it's kind of served you. There's also something about procrastination here. And trust me, I know a thing or two about that. But there's something here about, leaving things to the last minute and being able to really perform. And then being like, I just got it like that. Okay, that's cool. Now imagine what you would be able to achieve if you actually, put some strategy into that. We have the 2 of Swords. What does group 2 need to leave behind in 2024? This is so interesting because I kind of felt, this is a very different energy from group 1, but I'm feeling an attitude come up in me. And I felt a similar attitude. I had to really scold group 1 for something, and I'm feeling like a scolding coming here too, because it's giving, don't waste your potential because you have so much talent. Because this is giving ignorance. This is giving ignorance. And what you need to release, what you need to leave in 2024 is the ignorance, the thought that you can skate by on just raw talent or just pure desire, or even just because the Ace of Wands is very physical in nature, that you can just skate by on your looks, or that you can just skate by on only satiating your physical needs. We have the Knight of Cups, and then give me one more. Ooh. And then we have the Seven of Swords. Oof. Okay. And then we have the Seven of Pentacles. Yes, you take shortcuts. I am sorry, this is going to be a little bit of a scolding. You take shortcuts, and it's really infuriating, because you're actually really talented and really skilled and very inspired and very divine and very exquisite in your energy. And yet you could do so much more. And I'm talking about any area of life. Any area of life. This could be career, this could be within love, this could be within interpersonal relationships, self-development, anything. You don't necessarily play it small, you play it safe. You play it safe. We have the Two of Swords. Again, these energies down here are what you're supposed to leave in 2024. The Two of Swords, the Knight of Cups, and the Seven of Swords is telling me that you have a tendency to self-sabotage because there's some kind of fear of emotional investment. Okay? And so this is acting tough. Oh my God. You know what I just saw? The scene in Greece where Danny sees Sandy for the first time after, when he finds out that she didn't go back to Australia, and he's super excited, and then he realized, oh no, all my boys are around me, I have to act tough, and he's all, yeah, oh, whatever, and he acts all cool, but emotionally, he's like, oh my God, I'm so stoked because I love this person. That is emotional immaturity. I'm sorry. And it's because it's a protective mechanism. It's because you don't want to be vulnerable. And so you have all these ideas and you have all these grand schemes, but you don't strategize, you don't commit to them, because if you commit to them, then you make yourself too vulnerable to the fact that, well, if it doesn't work out, I'm going to be sad. Then I'm going to be really hurt. Versus, well, if I'm too cool to actually care, then it's whatever. Oh, I'm feeling this frustration, because I know that you know that this is self-sabotage, and so you know this frustration that I'm feeling. The Two of Swords is it's an inability to decide what you want to focus on, right? And to me, this is feeling like it's the Two of Swords standing in between the Ace of Wands and the Knight of Cups. And the Ace of Wands is inspiration, and the Knight of Cups is emotional bravery. And it's like, okay, well, if I allow this spark to take flame, to light me up, then I have to give something of myself. And that feels dangerous. And so Spirit, again, is not necessarily saying, oh, cut it out and just do it, right? They're not going Nike on you. They're not going Shia LaBeouf on you. Just do it. They're saying, figure it out. You need to experiment. You need to come up with a plan. Try it out. If that plan doesn't work, come up with another plan. Experiment. That's what the Knight of Swords is all about. And the more that you educate yourself on, wait, why am I holding back on this? This is about curiosity. This is about the Knight of Swords is seeing a Rubik's Cube and being like, okay, let me just try and figure this out, versus being like, I don't even care what that is, right? So with the Seven of Swords, there's a lot that you know you should be doing, that you could be doing, but you don't do it because you don't want to emotionally put yourself into Oh, I just heard into the light of the stage. So for some of you, you have a real talent and you don't pursue it. You literally do not pursue it. And yet you probably judge other people for that talent. You're probably like, that's not even that good. Or, oh, like, I could do that better. Okay, well, do it. I'm sorry. There's so much attitude in this. Oh my God. And already I've been dragging these out. This always happens. Okay, with the Seven of Pentacles again, what you're supposed to be focusing on here is practice. It's about investment. You have ideas, you have these passions, these desires, but you're not willing to invest in them. And so again, Spirit isn't saying you don't have to go all in, but you have to do a little bit at a time. And in order to do that, educate yourself, research, figure this out, and make it less intimidating. That's like, I don't know why this is coming through. Monsters, Inc. The monsters are terrified of the children because they've been told that, they can contract whatever virus from them and that it's dangerous to be in contact with them. And by the end of the movie, spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't seen Monsters, Inc., by the end of the movie, it's like, oh, wait, like, no, actually, we get more out of them if we make them laugh, and that was just what? It was a lack of education. That makes me think of another, what is that? The Fox and the Hound. Is it The Fox and the Hound? Elimination, lack of education. I think it is. That's such a dark song. Elimination, lack of education. So anyways, you're supposed to educate yourself, whether that is educating yourself on your own triggers, on your own self-sabotaging behaviors, on your own fear of vulnerability, on your own fear of being seen. So Knight of Swords can have to do with engaging in some form of self-help, meaning engaging in reading a book, researching a topic, understanding what it is that's keeping you from really investing in something that you are clearly really inspired by. What is an energy that group 2, I keep getting carried away. What is an energy that group 2 needs to leave behind? I'm still hearing elimination, lack of education. It's this one. We have hawk, yeah. I've been watching you like a hawk in the sky. This is very much keeping your distance and being like, I'm floating up here and I can see everything from here. I don't need to come down. I can see everything from here. If I never land, then I never have to worry. Scheming, but not really strategizing. Living in theory, but not really taking action. What is an energy that group 2 should embody more of? The Whale came out for a second, which makes sense. But ultimately the Snake came out. The Whale makes sense because it's emotional investment. Now the Snake is about, I think in this context, it feels like understanding your cycles, understanding the impact that your thought processes have on you. This has a lot to do with focus. And listen, I know whenever I talk about focus, I end up getting comments being like, yeah, well, tell my ADHD that. I understand that there's struggles. There's ways to manage. Okay, so then we need to do some research on how to manage, on how to have fail-safe plans in place that will help keep us on track. That doesn't mean you have to be focused 24/7. That's impossible. But so that we don't spiral and then give up, right? Because with the Snake card here, with the Hawk card here, you're very stuck in your ego space, and we're trying to get you more into a space of expression and of curiosity to try new things, because it feels like if somebody were to tell you, well, have you tried this? Yeah, I don't need to try that. I know that that doesn't work for me. Okay. You have a very like a short fuse when it comes to implementing change. And again, it has to do with this fear of vulnerability. Can I get an energy here for group 2 in terms of what they need to leave in 2024? Ooh. Okay. We have work and harvest. And so I think the significance of that is the idea that you can, that what you need to leave behind in 2024 is the feeling that it's too much work to be able to create harvest. Because, and now I'm getting Mary Poppins with this, because it's not too much work with the amount of passion that you have. With the amount of passion that you have, you're able to leverage the fact that, because the fact that work and harvest came out together means that the process of making this change happen is part of the harvest already, versus you seeing all this prospect of labor and thinking, oh, I don't want to work that much just to get the harvest at the end, because that's the problem here, is that there's a feeling of, I don't want to have to invest, because when I invest, I give part of me into it, and what do I get back? I won't get anything back until the end of it, until like payday. And that's not true. The work itself is part of your investment. It's kind of like, trust me, I know nothing about finances, but kind of like you get returns on your investments, right? You make what is it, dividends? You're not understanding that when you finally figure out how to fully commit yourself to the process itself is rewarding already. That it's not just about the outcome. Because again, I think you're very much an ideas person, but you're like, but I can't be the one, I can't be bothered to be the one that like makes it happen, because that doesn't feel like fun. That's not exciting. It's a fear of investment, of emotional investment. There's something really rewarding that comes from creating something from start to finish. And I know you know that. You just pretend like that doesn't really rock your boat, because it's really difficult for you to stick with it. And that's okay. It's okay for you to struggle. But I'd rather that you struggle and keep trying than just give up and constantly start something new and not get the fulfillment in any expression of it. Okay. Can we get some advice? What is an energy for group 2 to release, to let go of, to leave behind in 2024? Yes. And look at the colors here, with the Ace of Wands being this green gator right here, and then Midas Miser coming out with this green. This is heart chakra energies, right? Even though we're talking about the conceptualization of material things, you're very emotionally invested in this process, and so you'd rather not take action in the process because you think you'll lose, but you're really just gaining in the process. So Midas Miser is the idea that you either have everything or you have nothing. It's very much, it's a dichotomy that is not true, because the reality of things is that we vary. We go here, we go there, we experience all states. The shadow attribute says hoarding money and emotions. Exactly that. You are hoarding your emotions. You don't want to invest them into anything. Obsessive fear of losing your wealth. Well, that's like, what is it? Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Who am I? I'm remembering his name in another language. That's why I'm having a hard time. The duck uncle. The rich duck. The rich duck that's like swimming in his coins. I know that the name that I'm remembering is not his English name, so I couldn't tell you what his English name is. But, you know, what is all this emotional wealth if you don't put it into anything? What is an energy that Group 2 should embody more of in 2025? I swear, if dilettante comes out. Oh, okay, that makes sense too. We have monk nun. This is about commitment. Committed. Staying committed. This is about staying committed. Sorry, I'm just being nosy. I was looking at some of the other cards. Selfless devotion and single-minded dedication to spirit. Now, what is spirit if not creative expression? Okay, single-minded. And again, I know, if you struggle with ADHD, if you struggle really with it, it's 2024. We all struggle with something. We all went through that pandemic. We struggle. It is incredibly difficult to keep our focus on things. And so lower the stakes, bring the bar a little bit down, okay? I think this has everything to do with avoiding self-abandonment. Avoiding self-abandonment. And so what are some ways? You're going to have to try new routines. You're going to have to try new things to figure out, how can I keep myself accountable? How can I keep myself committed? Okay? Because this is also this feeling of like, it's outside of me. And monk nun is this idea of it's in my devotion. It isn't outside of me. It's in my connection to everything that I need is within my devotion to it. All right. Any last considerations or advice for Group 2 here? This was a talking to. You better go create something right after this. We have Aurora Borealis. This card in this deck, to me, always speaks of being at the right place at the right time. So, and then look at, we have honey at the bottom of the deck. I love that because honey is all about the difficult process of making something, creating something, but it's so worth it, right? But in any case, Aurora Borealis is, you know, for all the scolding that we've been doing, sorry, trust me, I'm talking to myself here as well, always, but for all the scolding that we have been doing, don't get caught in a loop of shame, because if you shame yourself, that's the problem, right? That's the problem, is that you don't follow through on something and then you start shaming yourself and then you avoid it completely. That is something that needs to be cut out, because that shame loop keeps you from trying again, trying differently. And so with Aurora Borealis, this is not saying, this reading in general is not saying, oh my God, you're so behind, come on, come on, come on. That's what I said in the beginning, right? That's not what Spirit is saying in terms of like, you need to have that paper on my desk by 5 p.m. But that it's like, all right, you got this inspiration. Now let's figure it out. Let's be a little bit more curious. Let's push a little bit further. Every time we approach it, every time, try a little bit more. Okay? And with Aurora Borealis reminding us that we are always at the right place at the right time, this means that you were not previously ready to invest, but you're getting there. It's kind of like, you know, you've been sitting at a poker table, not a poker table, but like a gambling, whatever kind of gambling table. And you've been like, no, I don't want to risk any of my money. I have all these chips. I like these chips. They're colorful. They're cool. I don't want to give any of them away. And then after a while, you're like, well, shit, not playing is kind of boring. Everybody seems to be, there's some people that are winning. There's some people that are losing, but they're still having a good time. They're having fun. That's weird. I'm the only one that's sitting here and that's like moping and not investing. So little by little, once you are ready, you start experimenting. One chip here, one chip there. And before you know it, you'll have the whole table going. I know it. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really hope that it resonates and that it's constructive. If you would like to book a personal reading, you can do so only on my website. It is linked below in the description. Other than that, I do hope I get to read for you again sometime. Until then, take care. Hi, Group 3. This is your reading if you chose this Wheel of Fortune right here. We are going to stick it in the middle of the deck, and then we're going to give it a real good shuffle. A couple of real good shuffles. And what we are going to do is we are then going to go through the deck until we find the Wheel of Fortune, and we're going to take a look at the card that is sitting in front of the Wheel of Fortune, and that will be the energy that you are meant to focus more so on in the future, meaning 2025. And then we will take a look at the card that is behind the Wheel of Fortune, and that will inform us on the energy that you are meant to leave in 2024, that you are meant to leave behind you. And then we'll pull a couple more cards. All right, so for Group 3, what does Group 3 need to leave in 2024? What does Group 3 need to leave behind? I will warn you right now, Group 1 and Group 2, very different thematically, but boy, does Spirit have an attitude today. There's some scolding that came through, so with love and nothing but everybody's best interest at heart, but they are not holding back today, so I'm excited to see what's gonna come out for you. All right. Let's do, that one was awful. So let's do one more good one. Okay, let's take a look. We are looking for the Wheel of Fortune. There it is already. Okay, so interesting. So the energy that you are meant to focus on more so in 2025 is the Four of Swords. And all right. I like this. And the energy to leave in 2024. Did I say 2024? 2025? I think I said 2025. The energy that you're supposed to leave behind, that you're supposed to leave in 2025, is the Ten of Wands. Who will carry the burden? Who gives a shit? Not my problem. Not my circus, not my monkeys. Somebody else can take care of it. I need to go take a nap. That's your energy here. You know what? I've been carrying too much. I need to go take a nap. What does this say? The Suit of Swords, number 4, featuring meditation, relaxation, and exhaustion, which doesn't mean that you need to embrace exhaustion. It means that you need to bring awareness to exhaustion, communicate your exhaustion, because here I'm seeing that you're trying to prove to yourself that you can do it all. You're like, I don't need help. You know what this makes me think of? In a lot of like furniture assembly packages, there will be like these symbols that'll show like, don't do it by yourself. This is a 2-person job. And my sister, pretty much everyone I know has always been like, 2-person job. Watch me. That's the energy that you have been bringing. Watch me. I can build this sideboard by myself. I don't need 2 people. Yeah, you can do it by yourself, but it's going to be a pain in the ass, and you don't need to be doing that. Look at how exhausted this Quasimodo looks. Look at him. Look at that face. Oh my God. He needs a beauty nap. Okay, anyway, see what I'm saying about the attitude? So, with the wands, we are also talking about wants, right? We're talking about desires. So you are spreading your energy too thin in general. And so with the Four of Swords as an energy to focus more so on in the next year, you're going to have to be discerning with what is worth your effort and your energy. You're going to have to focus on is this thing that I am somehow attached to, this habit, this person, this idea, this passion, is this something that actually feeds me, or has it gotten to a point where it's just draining me, where it's just taking from me? Is this something that excites me, or is this just an obligation that I have? You're definitely being guided to lighten your load. So what you need to leave behind is this feeling of, well, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? And trust me, I know that can be a very real experience, especially, talking to any mothers in the collective here. This idea of like, well, if I don't clean it, then I have to deal with the mess, then I have to live with the mess because nobody else has the foresight or the awareness to even realize that something needs to be cleaned, right? And that's just a metaphor, so don't try to overthink it there. But this is this idea of like, yeah, sometimes you are going to have to leave some chaos behind you in the hopes that people will pick up the slack. But it is going to take them some time before they recognize, oh, there is slack to be picked up, and oh, there is something to do here. And in the meantime, you will feel frustrated and you will feel triggered because it's like, I don't want to live in this mess, right? Metaphorically speaking. So what you need to do is focus on how can you create peace? How can you create stillness for yourself within yourself so that you can face the ugliness of a little bit of chaos, of things falling apart. Now, this also has to do with if you are taking on too much responsibility within your family dynamic or within a workplace or within a romantic relationship. Because this feeling is like, well, if I'm not there, everything falls apart. Let it fall apart. Let it fall apart. Because what is the alternative? It's you exhausting yourself and you overstretching. And that's not sustainable, and that's going to cost you. With the Four of Swords, this is also a reminder to prioritize your health, to prioritize your wellness, because if you do not do that, you will see, even if this is in the emotional realm, you will see physical repercussions of that. And this is not like a prophecy or anything like that. It's fact. It's fact that if you suppress and overwork yourself and get to a state of burnout because you are not sharing the load, because you are not lightening your load, you will face some kind of physical sensations of your body fighting back, because your body is like, I did not sign up for this shit. Let's get you some more cards. What is something that group 3 needs to leave behind? What is something that group 3 needs to leave in 2024? Who will carry the burden but me? I don't know, somebody else. It'll get figured out. We have the Ace of Pentacles. We have the Eight of Pentacles. And then we have the Seven of Wands. And then we have the Star card. Again, healing, physical, I don't know where that sentence was trying to go. I know it, but I can't build it. You're going to need to prioritize your physical well-being. That's what I'm trying to say. Because the bottom of the deck is telling us more so what to focus on. This is telling us what it is that you need to leave behind. And with the Ace of Pentacles, which is typically a card of opportunity, it's something that can be very exciting. But with the Ace of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles being something that you need to leave behind, it's the feeling of, I have to make everything work. This is perfectionism that you need to leave behind. And it's also an inability to delegate, an inability to ask for help. It is an inability to redirect opportunities in a way that manages them instead of gripping onto them. With the Pentacles, we are talking about physical obligations. And again, typically that's physical opportunities, right? The opportunity to make money, the opportunity to create something, but it feels like obligations because it's so much coming at you all at once. And you're like, well, nobody can do it the way I do it. Well, they don't know what they're doing. And it's you need to release your grip on that a little bit, because the Eight of Pentacles is definitely giving major perfectionist vibes and major like, I can do it, it's fine, I can do it. And that's with the Seven of Wands. It says trapped, but who is the monster? But the Seven of Wands is all about overcoming obstacles. And we have Frankenstein over here fighting the entire village. And it's kind of like this feeling of like, no, trust me, I can do it. And you're like half zombified because you're completely out of whack and out of balance. And it's like you're not doing anyone any favors, and least of all yourself. Because the way in which you're getting things done it's not healthy. And so it's probably going to affect your attitude as well. So it's like, yeah, you're getting shit done, but at what cost? At what cost? And so with the Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles is all about opportunity. And sometimes we have to recognize that there is an opportunity to do something that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be done by you. Sometimes the best thing you can do is give that opportunity to someone else. But if you are someone who's very skilled at recognizing opportunity, you may feel like, oh, but I want to be the person that makes this come alive, that makes, like, I'm getting that you need to delegate, that you need to manage. This is giving micromanaging. You're micromanaging, and it's really I'm sorry, I just heard it's really pissing me off. That's not how I feel though. I don't know who's feeling that way. But somebody says it's really pissing me off. But you're micromanaging, and it's just really exhausting, probably to you as well as the people around you, because there is this feeling of perfectionism, this feeling of like nobody's helping me, but it's putting you in a martyr position. So this energy that you need to, that's harsh. I'm sorry. I'm telling you, these readings are harsh today. What you need to release is your martyrdom. You need to figure out how to ask for help, how to receive help, and how to initiate periods of rest for yourself. There is something about you that is very capable, not something, you are very capable. You're a very capable person, and everybody knows that, okay? You don't have to prove it to anyone, least of all to yourself, okay? You are a very capable person. But it's like whenever there's this, and I'm getting, that's why I'm saying the energies are so harsh in these readings today, because I'm getting like this feeling of a child, specifically like a firstborn toddler child. And I have a couple of nephews. I have a bunch of nephews. And so I've seen this many times across the board. Doesn't matter how they are raised, in which environments, with which attitudes, it happens, right? Between a firstborn and a younger child, it always happens that, you know, the younger child wants to have whatever the big child has, right? The firstborn has something, and the younger child is like, oh my God, they look up to their sibling, and they're like, I want what they have. And then there's this feeling of like, no, like I can't give you this. No, like this is mine, right? And that's what I'm feeling with this Ace of Pentacles, this fear of like, no. And then usually what will happen is the firstborns are really clever because they learn how to leverage what they do have. So let's say the firstborn has this and the younger child is like, oh my God, gimme. And then the firstborn will recognize, you know what? I can distract the secondborn with this. Here, take this. And then they see the joy that the secondborn has with this. And all of a sudden they're like, actually, wait a minute. No, I want it back. No, I want both. I want both. Here, you can have this. This is why I needed all these crystals. They're like, you can have this. And there's a little bit of tiff back and forth, but eventually the secondborn is like, fine, I'll take this. And then they're like, actually, wait a minute, no, I want this too. You can't have any of it. I need to be in control of all of it. I feel like I'm yelling. I'm sorry. I'm telling you, the energies are very intense in these readings today. So I hope that made sense because that's what this feels like. It's this feeling of, yeah, you can do this. And then you give a menial task or a menial thing to someone. And then you're like, actually, you know what? Never mind. No, you can't have that. And that doesn't have to just be in terms of getting things done. This can also be in terms of your vulnerability with people and what you trust people with. You have a lack of trust. I understand. Trust me. Trust me. Yeah. Ha. You have a lack of trust in giving things to people. And that can be giving things to people as in responsibilities, but also knowledge. You don't want to share anything about yourself with people because you don't trust them. And so you hold on. You're like, no, wait, let me perfect it. I'll just do it myself and then I'll let you know. And in the meantime, you're becoming like this zombified version of yourself, and it's extremely exhausting and you need to stop. Okay? All right. What is an energy that group 3 needs to leave behind? What is an energy that group 3 needs to leave in 2024? Exactly that. We have B. That is just constantly staying busy. That's constantly like just going to each flower and being like, let me grab this. You're like walking, you know what it is? You're walking through the grocery store and you refuse to get a cart and you're carrying, your arms are full and you're still refusing to get a cart. Same thing goes for then when you've loaded up your car with like bags on bags on bags. And instead of asking someone to come help you bring in the groceries, you're carrying 20 bags all at once. It's not sustainable. And B is a lovely energy. And that's the thing. I don't want to take this creativity from you. I don't want to take your capability from you. It's an incredibly positive energy, yes, but it's exhausting you. And you need to balance that creative, that possibility, that capability. You need to balance that with rest, because otherwise what you create is going to be shit. Okay? It's as simple as that. If you do not give yourself rest, the quality of the work will suffer. And I'm saying that to someone who I can see is clearly a perfectionist. So it is in your best interest, if you're so worried about things being perfect, you should be worried about giving yourself rest. And then this is an energy to embrace more of. We have Elephant. Elephant is more so doing it in your own time. Doing it on your own time, doing it in your own time. Don't know why I had to make that distinction. But also think of the space that these two animals take up, where the bee is very much like vroom, vroom, vroom. An elephant is like, yeah, okay, I will go here, I will go there. Slow it down. Take up space. There's also something about the bee needing to be a part of society, needing to be a part of, doing things for other people, right? Constantly being a part of a hive mind, versus the elephant is, they're very communal animals, but I'm getting here that there's also this freedom to roam, and this freedom to just be, and to really just connect with yourself. Elephants are highly spiritual animals. They're also religious animals. That's coming through for some reason. You need to chill and focus on healing. I'm thinking of the way that elephants take mud baths and the way that they play. They play. I don't know that bees play. I don't know. If you know if bees play, let me know. I'm curious. But elephants play. But in any case, we're really talking about you needing to prioritize your healing, your wellness, your well-being. What is an energy that group 3 needs to understand in order to release what it is that we're talking about here? We have chaos. Yeah, you need to embrace chaos. You're going to need to practice being okay with a little bit of chaos, because your inability to tolerate chaos is exhausting you, because you are trying to grip onto control that is simply not sustainable. And so what you need to release is the idea that if you just give enough of yourself that you can avoid chaos, because that's not true. It's simply not true. You have to maintain a balance between the chaos and the control that you do have, which is only over yourself and the way that you react to chaos. So again, the Four of Swords, the Star card, what does this actually say? She came to Earth driven by an insatiable desire to continue the cycle of fertility. An insatiable desire. And I get that. You have an insatiable desire. But you need to understand that doesn't mean that you have, there's a word I'm looking for, that you have endless, that's not the word I'm looking for, but endless resources. Just because you have insatiable desire doesn't mean that you have endless resources. What is an energy for group 3 to release, to let go of, to leave behind in 2024? What is an energy to let go of? We have Storyteller. And then what is an energy for group 3 to embody more of in 2025? We have Guide. I think with Storyteller, I'm more so focused on the idea that somebody who writes stories is a storyteller, not just reading somebody else's stories. Because here I'm getting this feeling of, let me be the designer of everything. Let me be the one that creates every aspect of my life, that influences every aspect. Versus with Guide, it's just a general direction. Storyteller is very much like you focusing on every word. And we've been getting a lot of perfectionist energy, and that goes hand in hand with Virgo energy, which is ruled by Mercury. And so it's this control, and it's a beautiful energy, yes, but you are like maxing it. You've got it at full capacity, and it's just not constructive at that degree. But it is a beautiful energy because it is creative and inventive and inspired. But you need to leave a little bit of room for other people to be able to fill in the blanks. So think of a novel that has 500 pages can be emotionally as impactful as a song that has only 3 verses. You know what I mean? Like, there's something here about really being meticulous about every letter, every word, there's just something about you really trying to be the creator in a way that is not allowing your creations to have any autonomy. And that's a metaphor. So if you're not a creative, then it's more so about the things that you breathe life into by giving your energy to it. You need to have faith and trust that they are going to be able to develop into something. And with guide, it's a little bit more hands off. Versus storyteller is this idea of like, well, I have to because nobody else is going to. Well, I want to say, have you tried? I'm sure that you would say, oh, I've tried. And then what happens? Chaos. Okay. Have you let the chaos play out? What happens? You know, there's definitely a need here to let energies play out instead of trying to control them. And that there is something to learn and something to gain from the way that they do play out. And mostly what you need to focus on is allowing yourself to rest. It's coming through so strongly. Otherwise it's not just draining, it is endangering you. It's not just draining. And again, that's not a prophecy, but it is just true. Any kind of repression, whether we are repressing sadness or anger and frustration, resentment, anything that we repress, it starts eating us up from the inside. And that's when you get a bad back. That's when you get muscle tensions. That's when you start getting food sensitivities. That's when you start sleeping bad. That's when it just affects every part of you bit by bit. And so that is not a threat. That is not a prophecy. It is just the next steps. And so in order to avoid that, and for a lot of you, you probably already have a bad back. You probably already have some kind of issues that are very, very much screaming for your attention, and you just haven't prioritized them because it is something that only affects you. And you're very focused on managing and handling and clinging to things that are outside of you. You need to bring your attention towards bringing yourself into balance so that you can then show up in a way to not be triggered by the chaos that is being caused by this disruption of you releasing your grip on everything. Quite literally everything. All right, so yeah, what you need to leave behind, what you need to leave in 2024 is your martyrdom, and recognizing that you're not doing anyone any favors, and least of all yourself, and that you need to prioritize your health. You need to prioritize your health and your mental health. Any last considerations or advice for group 3? We have the Tower, Yeah, this is going to be, honestly, this is not just a gentle nudge. This is inevitable. This is something that needs to happen. Okay, we have adventure. Also, you are being guided to get out of your routine. Get out of your routine. But more so with the Tower card here. The Tower card is about change, and it's necessary change because of external circumstances. And I think you are so focused on the external that you have started to internalize external chaos in order to avoid external chaos. What I mean by that is you have internalized, you have taken chaos outside of yourself, prioritized cleaning that up, and therefore created chaos within yourself. But you're like, that's okay, I can ignore that, but I can't ignore chaos outside of myself. And that's where the Tower energy is going to be like, no, you can't. No, you can't. You cannot ignore chaos within yourself. You can ignore chaos outside of yourself. You can learn to live with it. And that is going to be so much more sustainable than ignoring chaos within yourself. Oof, a stern talking to. I'm going to leave it there. I hope that this helps. I hope it's constructive, and I hope that it resonates. If you would like to book a personal reading, you can do so only on my website. The information is linked in the description below. Other than that, I do hope I get to read for you again sometime. Until then, take care.